you realize how long it takes for players to basically look at coaches and parents and say, you guys haven't figured your stuff out yet. You're still fighting, you're fighting over this, you're bickering over that, and you're not even talking about us. We become the pawns in the product, but what are you doing to really empower us?
I felt myself become a much better coach whenever I started listening to my players and really hearing what they were telling me instead of just always having an answer for everything. They don't want an answer all the time, they just want you to hear them.
I learned that when you're coaching young girls that we don't always have an answer. And don't say something if you don't have an answer, because they are far more sharp than you are when it comes to dealing with a crisis at that moment.
And what was really good for me was to finally learn how female athletes do much better in an environment when you talk directly one-on-one. You're not embarrassing them, you can pull them aside, you can almost be as direct as you would from afar, but it's one-on-one.
I had a coach with me in 1996 that kept reminding me, he says, if your heart's in the right place, that will play out. The girls will know that. They may know you're like a raving lunatic, but they know that you're on their side. And you got the young coaches, no, she can't do that. And I go, no, don't worry about that. She'll be fine. Here I look back where I was the crazy man, and now I'm trying to tell these people, don't worry about that. Let's focus on the fundamental stuff. Let's just worry about that.
They know I'm not gonna negotiate what they get to do on the field or off the field. Like, this is what's expected of you. I think that gives us our boundaries because they know, right? Like, here's the deal. Like, Coach Scott's not gonna be okay with me doing this, and they know it. So there's never that confused, why are you upset process.
How come they're not standing up straight? How come their posture isn't good? How come they're not respecting the other team? How come there wasn't a class that taught them what honor really is, what America's really about? I want to be the coach that is in the first room before they even get their uniform. I want them to go by me, and I want to ask them what they understand, and I want to make sure before they go in and get their uniform that they fully understand what this program is about.
Along came Amanda Lorenz, Sydney Romero, Alyssa Palomino, Taylor McQuillan, Morgan Flores, all these people, Folly Avu, that, like, holy cow, they're on one. I always tell people they're on one team. Yeah, they're on one team. And we won 3 national championships in 5 years with them. And not just the ability to win, but their approach and their maturity and their understanding of who they were, and like, it was like driving the car itself.
Let's go through a couple situations, first and third. What are you guys basically trying to accomplish in typical first and third situations offensively, Dave?
Typically what we'll do is we'll have our runners at 2 different things. Either we can still them at 100%, or we can put them on a pace to know that pickle is going to begin if the throw goes to second. If that throw goes to second, then it's their job to control the time and the pace, trying to create a little chaos and hopefully get a blunder, a pickle blunder, whatever it can, to get that runner home from third.
We simplified, do I want to score a run or I want to take second base? I can tell you that we will gladly take second and third.
Like Dave said, we try to change pace. It's never the same thing twice, usually. That disrupts timing with the catcher and the cut, usually. And they're expecting us to do one thing, and we might do something altogether different. We try to mix it up.
So just bounce the ball, put the ball in play. The hit and runs, putting runner in motion, all of that does a lot to disturb defenses. And again, your job is to help create runs when that other team is doing something that's making it hard for your offense to work in their normal capacity. So there's a couple tips on first and third offensive situations.
The very first class of signees was 2009. We had 2 players signed.
I mention this to coaches all the time. I know it hurts. It hurts anytime a player leaves your team for any reason, but nobody steals my players. Our players choose to leave. And whether it's the right or wrong choice, they choose to leave. And that's a dynamic that's part of our culture.
Zoom will be a big thing, I'm sure, this year. That wasn't last year, right? It was phone calls and FaceTime. Well, this year it's probably going to be, hey, we went to your Zoom call at 12:30 with this school. We've tried to be super creative with how we market players during this time where college coaches couldn't be out by utilizing, video and honestly going back to the data is going to become even more important.
The most important thing that I think for our kids is any type of help that they get financially into college. I don't care if it's 10%, 30%, whatever. These kids can enter their adult life free of school debt, or at least as much as possible, and not enter their adult life in debt or minimize that debt.
Like any other market, it's in a downturn, right? So maybe what a player would have gotten as far as an offer last year is maybe not going to be the same number that they might see. Honestly, I think it starts with people.
We walked in here today, and Alyssa Brito and Hannah Delgado, we were here at 10 o'clock last night, hitting. It's 9, and they're in there hitting again.
It doesn't matter if you're on a 4-field complex and there are college coaches someday again where they're watching 4 games. I always challenge coaches and players, be the field behind the coach, that the coach continues to look around and go, what is going on back there? Because there's nobody there that I think I'm supposed to be watching. And then they keep hearing the noise, the laughter, not annoying laughter, not annoying noise, but noise of engagement, kids having fun, excitement, yelling. What is going on in that backyard party? I gotta get there.
We were in Arizona. We got to play the Sun Cats out there, and we went to scrimmage and everything. I left here, drove there all night, got there at 3 o'clock in the morning, woke up at 7 to go to practice. And Katie comes in, my daughter, and she says, are you burnt out? And I said, no, I'm not. I'm good. Because I love this stuff.
I think it's the standards, like establishing standards. A lot of people, I watch it in real time, even on some of our own teams in the Bombers, but I see it especially on my competition because I play them so much, I'm around them so much, and I tell my players, I'm not going to negotiate the standard with you, right? That's a military thing for me.
Human nature is such that you want to take a break. You achieve something, you want to kind of, but you can't because everybody wants you. Everybody wants to do more. And it's tougher to win now with the expanse of our sport and the greatness of our sport and all the coaches getting better and paying more attention. It has gotten a lot tougher to be successful.
Yeah, the first thing I would say to any and every coach that might have an inkling or an aspiration or ambition and say to themselves, I'd like to do that, you can all do it. Everybody and anybody can do this. And I say that because I feel like I'm the least capable coach of anybody of providing a business component. Yes, I played the game, and yes, I can coach in a certain capacity, but as a businessman, my education was, I wouldn't say 0, but pretty close.
And we ended up opening a facility, and it was daunting. It was, most people don't understand that in a place like Southern California, we're right here in the Platinum Triangle in Orange County. 30,000 square feet is not cheap. In the old style of people will pay $10 for a lesson and they'll come in, as you know, that doesn't cover 30,000 square feet of rent.
So everything from the professionalism and the structure of the business to the way that we deliver our lessons and teaching and development, it's very important to deliver the point of players being first.
With the Bombers, we have tried to have very controlled tactical growth. Like we took the SEC footprint that if you just took the SEC on the map, we tried to grow in that at the very front end of it.
You're going to have much more width in your vision. You have to look at this. You can't be so focused on one thing. You got to look at the bigger picture for all the things that are involved in running a business.
Surround yourself with great people that are great at what they do. Do your best to enable and empower the people that are going to make you look good someday.